All right, hello people from the internet. Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Um, Recently, Antern asked in one of my videos, is there any chance we'll see any classic roguelikes with your commentaries? Adam, nethack, Angband? The answer to that is a very immovable, very guaranteed no. It will not happen. I do understand that this is a rather drastic position to take, but I would like to elaborate on that a bit more, and that's why I am making this video today. The reason why I am so reluctant to do this is because I have a history with NetHack, actually. NetHack is the game that introduced me to roguelikes as a whole. I guess I can take the time to tell the story of how I found NetHack. I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In a Yu-Gi-Oh! Simulator in YBD. You may have heard about it. It was a very old simulator. But it had its chat, and you use the chat to find other people to play with. And then I saw in the chat two people saying, "Oh, like Excalibur is such a good weapon," and then like another person replied, "No, Frostbrand is great. Like, why are you talking about?" And I was like, "Okay, these people." Look oddly passionate about what they're talking about. Let's Google these things, Excalibur and Frostbrand. Obviously, I knew about the myth of Excalibur. Um, this I found out about NetHack when I was around 14, 13, 14 was my final year of middle school. Um, so I googled that Excalibur and Frostbrand, and one of my first results was the NetHack wiki. And I started reading the NetHack wiki, and it very quickly became apparent that it was what those people were talking about. They were talking about the NetHack game. Yes, and I started reading the wiki, and I was like, there's no way that such a game exists, right? Like, the things described here are way too absurd and ridiculous for a game. And so I downloaded NetHack, obviously. And I started playing NetHack. And I was like, wow, this game is amazing. And this game is so difficult. I can't believe this game. And obviously, I was using the wiki because my first contact with NetHack was through the wiki. And I pretty much played, but I read the wiki more than I played. You know how it is with those kinds of games, with the old design philosophy roguelikes. You really need to have your hand held if you want to get anywhere in that kind of game. And even with that, it might still end in very strepitous disaster. It is not an uncommon thing for that to happen. So yeah, I played a lot of NetHack. I used the wiki a lot. I even dabbled in a lot of Wismode gameplay and save scumming and stuff. But then I was like, what even is the point of doing this? If I'm not gonna do it properly, I'm not gonna do it at all. So I decided to do it properly because I was very into NetHack. And then I won legit for the first time. And I was like, okay, I have graduated from not knowing how to play the game. I will now proceed to play online in the servers. And I got into IRC because I knew how IRC worked. This was when I was 15. It was during the year that I didn't go to school. Um, and I played a lot of NetHack, and I made a lot of NetHack friends within the NetHack community. Um, During the course of that year that I didn't go to school, almost all that I did was wake up at around 3 p.m., play NetHack. Sometimes I even forgot to eat. There was this one time where I literally fainted from lack of food IRL just because I was so hooked on NetHack. And then I went to bed, rinse and repeat, for the better part of a year. Obviously very unhealthy, but that's just how it was for me. I'm just telling you my experience. Um, and until eventually, there was this one day, I was starting to feel the burn already. Maybe because of the unhealthy lifestyle that I was living, maybe because of the game, maybe it was a mixture of both those things. But there was this one occasion where I was like I was at the castle in NetHack. If you know where the castle is, you can probably identify it as a part, as the last fun and exciting part of the game. Well, I was there, and I had finished the castle, and I had gotten my wand of wishing, and I was like, okay, now it's time to get ready for Genom, and I felt such undescribable tedium over the sole prospect of getting ready for Genom and then playing through Genom. And at that moment specifically, I realized it was a nerd shattering realization for me that I didn't enjoy NetHack. That NetHack was a fun game when I was learning NetHack, that it was so wonderful and marvelous. But now that I know how to play NetHack, now that I know how I am supposed to play NetHack, now that I know how to play NetHack optimally, I feel tedium and boredom by playing NetHack optimally. That was my experience with NetHack. That's what I felt. That was the last game of NetHack that I played for the better part of a decade. There was this point. A couple of years ago where I played on stream once. I didn't get very far because NetHack is very complicated to get far when you're not heavily practiced on it or just using crazy spoilers, which I really wasn't when I played it on stream. But yeah, I don't think that I have won a NetHack run since. It is just not a game that appeals to me anymore. I have unfortunately run it dry pretty much. I don't think that I can enjoy NetHack anymore because of that. Now that I have told you my story about NetHack, um, let me watch a little bit of NetHack gameplay, which, by the way, that person is AFK, I think. We can spectate someone else. And there we go. Yep, I have an account on the NetHack server, nethack.alt.org. So here we are watching console NetHack. This is how I enjoyed my NetHack. So when I realized that I was burnt out with NetHack, that I was just incapable of playing NetHack anymore, I switched to crawl. Well, I tried crawl in January of 2011, and then I switched to crawl pretty much for the foreseeable future by May or so of 2011. Um, in June and July, I was taking a course in to try to enter high school. Because after all, you have to remember that it was one whole year where I was not in school. So I went to the course, and the course didn't really teach me anything that I didn't already know. I guess it did function as a refresher of things that I already knew, but um, I was not mindful of, I guess. Um, and I ended up entering high school. I just comment on the course because I remember that like I had these little friends during the course, and I was sometimes talking to them about NetHack and how crazy of a game it is, and also about Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup and how I consider it to be even harder than NetHack. And it was so crazy that I, with all my NetHack experience, was unable to win Crawl even once. Funny thing to think about nowadays, but that's definitely how it felt back then. Remember, this was when I was 16 years old, so 15 going into 16 years old, so 2000, I cannot even remember. Well, I'm 27 now, so you can probably figure it out. Um, but yeah, that's why I cannot really give commentary or just like play NetHack and those kinds of old games. The tedium that is so heavily ingrained onto them just makes it an unpleasant experience for me to go through. It just doesn't work for me anymore. And I don't feel really sad about it. The way that I talk about NetHack, especially on stream, if you don't have the context that I just gave to you, may appear as if I'm just hating on the game, but the reality is that I hold a lot of appreciation for NetHack. At the end of the day, if it was not for me finding out about NetHack, I would have never ever found Crawl, and I wouldn't be making these videos for you. So yeah, thank you to NetHack for just being there, and thank you to everyone involved with NetHack, the community, the devs. Everyone in the IRC, like the community was such a big factor in like me retaining my sanity during that year where I just was barely going out, because even though I was not going out, I was still having some degree of human interaction and stuff. It was really nice, and I really like it. I still kind of have contact with some members of the community, but yeah, it was a whole experience, a whole part of my life that culminated in me being where I am right now, making videos on YouTube, as I already mentioned. So yeah, if you enjoy my videos, you also need to be grateful towards NetHack in a certain way, because if it was not for that, I wouldn't be here. Yeah, but yeah. I did think about starting to get into making content when I was playing NetHack and in my early days of Crawl as well. But it was just not possible for me back then for certain reasons. I didn't have good internet, I didn't have a good computer, I didn't even have a microphone, and I guess most important of all, I didn't have money because I was a broke teenager that barely went outside his home. So very difficult to earn money when you're in such conditions. Um, so yeah, yeah. At the end of the day, I ended up streaming, and I have enjoyed it, and people all have also enjoyed it. So it ended up everything ended up to be all right. Ended up turning out all right. Is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Um, I guess that's it. Thank you to my supporters on Patreon, Anthony Emergence, Blink and Die, Dulos Ball, Fede, Inon, and Grapophilia. I appreciate you all for your very generous contributions, and I hope to continue having your support.